massive fly past there. Everything is up in the air at the moment, quite literally. That looks superb. It's time, however, down on earth to renew rivalries. It's the final of the 130th GAA Football Championship. Will it be a 3 in a row for Dublin, or a first in 66 years for Mayo? The match to be handled by Joe McQuillan, his third All-Ireland senior football final. He's got Conor Lane and he's got Pádraig O'Sullivan on the sidelines. Look at this for an impressive setting. It's where you want to be on the third Sunday in September. Next year it's set to be all changed. We're supposed to have finals in August from here on in. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Dublin won the toss, and every indication that they're going to play down towards Hill 16 for the opening 35 minutes. Jim Gavin in charge of Dublin. Only one defeat in 5 seasons in the championship, and that against Donegal in the semi-final in 2014. Mayo ready to do the business. That's their hope. Enormous pressure on all of the players concerned. Biggest day of the year in football. One of the biggest days ever in their lives, in their footballing lives. John Small ready, along with Conor Callaghan. Ready for the start of the match. The 8s and the 9s are ready to go at it. And in fact, it ends up being number 11, Aidan O'Shea, who gets the first possession. Leaving it off here towards Kevin McLaughlin. Trying to set up a scoring opportunity early on here for Jason Doherty to fire it in. But away to the left-hand side. First opportunity falling to Mayo, failing to avail of it. He's had a very good year, Jason Doherty.
Yeah, and Aidan O'Shea continued his trend of winning every throw-up so far this season, but Jason Doherty will be disappointed with that shot.
Dublin's kick-outs once again successfully completed as they go short. The Dublin goalkeeper, his record of the championship this year, so impressive. 86% of his kick-outs have worked out, and when you give it to Jack McCaffrey, you know what you can expect as he takes off. Down to the opposing 45-metre line. In here as far as Brian Fenton. Back to Cian O'Sullivan. Able to patrol in front of the full back line usually, along with Johnny Cooper. Once again it's Jack McCaffrey. Dublin looking to try and dominate the early exchanges here, impose their will on the game as they did against Tyrone in a very one-sided semi-final a couple of weeks ago. O'Sullivan again threading it in here towards O'Callaghan. He's been the boy wonder of football this year, and he shrugs off the attentions of the backs, goes in and scores! What a start after a minute and 25 seconds. Another brilliant opening goal for Dublin. Superbly converted by Conor Callaghan. What a player this lad is.
Yeah, great run by Conor Callaghan, straight at the heart of the defence. Colin Boyle was marking him since the start of the match. Couldn't get near him, but that shows the composure of this guy in a brilliant finish.
The best possible start for the champions. And once again, Mayo have to start an All-Ireland final and come from behind. Fenton. Kieran Kilkenny getting his hands on the ball. Nicely supported here. Always able to move forward. John Small scored against Mayo in last year's drawn All-Ireland final. Back out as far as Dean Rock. Cooper. Total domination by Dublin so far. In as far as Paul Mannion, so elusive, so quick. All the way back to Andrews. A left footer this time from him, and a first wide as well. Wide apiece, but that goal still has the crowd buzzing here at Croke Park.
Yeah, and it's a full court press by Dublin so far. See Johnny Cooper, all the players are pushing right up and putting massive pressure on the Mayo team. It's
with Tom Parsons now. Mayo trying to establish some little bit of mastery here in this game. Had one attack already. Jason Doherty firing it wide. McLaughlin. A couple of players coming together. One of them was O'Gara, the other was McLaughlin. Tom Parsons chipped in towards Andy Moore, and 2 against him. They know his danger, and out comes Mick Fitzsimons. All the way out as far as Paul Mannion. Came very deep on occasions as well in the semi-final match. Fenton. As the season has gone on, his game has improved immeasurably. Into Owen O'Gara. Late change. O'Gara coming in for Niall Scully. O'Callaghan laying it off to McCaffrey. Down he goes. Referee says he's going to hold the play. Thought he was going to allow play to continue.
I think he got it bang on the leg there as Keith Higgins came in. And there's not much in that. It's hard to see it. Yeah, no, it's hard to see it. But again, you see Conor O'Callaghan there. Possibly Steph. No, a lovely finish. Great finish.
Really was. Second goal of the championship, scored after 5 minutes against Tyrone. And in under 90 seconds here, getting the opener in the All-Ireland final. They're happy.
Yeah, and it's a killer start for Mayo. They would have liked to set into this game nice and early, you know, ask questions of this Mayo team or the Dublin team, but certainly a start like that is brilliant, and Conor O'Callaghan continues in his brilliant form.
Well, Jim Gavin has had the courage of his convictions to come in and promote young players like O'Callaghan. I guess it's easy when you've got a player of such immense talent. You consider that he's already won an All-Ireland club hurling final with Coola and under 21 football as well. So he's going for the third one here, and this doesn't look at all good.
Yeah, well, with Con, I suppose you expect players to take a year or two to gel, get used to the setup, but he's come into the team immediately and made a massive impact.
Jack McCaffrey, the one about whom there is quite a degree of concern now.
Yeah, it's hard to see whether there was contact or not. It didn't look like there was contact with Keith Higgins, so it's an unusual one.
I say I didn't see any contact. But again, a player who spent most of last year away, furthering his studies. I think he was back in Ireland by the time the All-Ireland final came around, but he wasn't included for the All-Ireland party, so it looks like it's going to be Paul Flynn, who will be coming in very shortly for his 51st championship appearance.
Yeah, Jack was incredible in the last day as well against Tyrone, so he'll be a loss. Referee's
got to throw the ball up, so there was no foul, no free kick given. Mayo win it back, having made the worst possible start. And it's Aidan O'Shea who's back there trying to lead the way. I guess if you're going to concede a goal, you might as well concede it early on, because you've got an awful lot of time to repair the damage. Kevin McLaughlin, quick look up, 2 against 4 inside. Andy Moran races out to get it. Quick look up, good score by Moran.
Yeah, and that's what Andy Moran has been doing all season, and I've marked Michael Fitzsimons myself. He's a tough, tenacious defender, and great play again by Andy Moran.
One of his colleagues was able to hold off the back that time and give him sufficient space in which to get the kick in. So Mayo are off the mark. And this time the kick out is attacked quickly. Should have been Mayo's. It is eventually. Donny Bohan has got it. They're attacking in waves. Bohan taking the return pass. Bohan kicks another one. 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It's a bit like last year's drawn final, where the replay, they conceded 4 points, then got the next 4.
Yeah, well, that's what we've seen time and time again with these Mayo lads. They're not going to lie down, but that came from a poor kick out from Stephen Cluxton. He's going long a lot of the time.
Cluxton, brilliant kick all the way to Conor O'Callaghan. That's a fantastic kick out. All the way in here towards O'Gara, looking for options. Back towards the 21-year-old once again. Making his way past Parsons, giving it back out again, intended for Kieran Kilkenny, but the eagerness and the determination of Mayo is very evident there, and it's Colin Boyle who gets it away. Slips it inside as far as McLaughlin, on as far as Aidan O'Shea, back once again to the number 7, and Boyle feeds it in, once again into Andy Moore. He's gone 1. 3 men against him. Cian O'Sullivan tried to get the hand in to try and win that ball back. They're trying to slip it in over Mick Fitzsimon's head. Back goes Johnny Cooper. Cooper gets the ball away out as far as Brian Fenton.
Yeah, the Mayo supporters aren't happy, but I think myself the ball was there to be won. But again, you see Andy Moran out in front. I think in last year's final, Johnny Cooper picked him up.
Paddy Andrews back around his own 45-metre line to pick this one up and give it out to James McCarthy. Philly McMahon, change of direction. Andrews once more. Pitch in very good condition in spite of the very heavy rain we had here in the Dublin region last night. Small down into the corner here where Mannion goes over. He's pushed, fouled by Paddy Durkin. Free kick awarded.
Yeah, and I suppose it's unusual for Paddy Durkin to find himself playing back in the corner. He definitely put the hands on the back there, and it's an easy free in.
Change has now been made.
Yeah, and Paul Flynn has been a massive servant, 4 All-Stars in a row, but he'll make a big impression. His physicality, there's a lot of talk before the game that he might start as well, so no surprise he's in.
But if there was a change, if there was talk about him coming in before the game, it was hardly for Jack McCaffrey.
No, certainly not. No, and I suppose that just gives you an idea of Paul Flynn's versatility. He can play pretty much anywhere.
Tricky free kick for Dean Rock out here for a right-footed kicker about 2 metres in from the Kazakhstan side. The distance from goal is about 50 metres. Now let's see if he can make it. Dropping away to the left-hand side, off Mayo hands, a 45 instead. Probably about as much as you could hope to get from that, because it really was a tight angle for him.
Yeah, and a difficult angle, yeah, for a free taker. It's surprising maybe the likes of Paul Yamanian mightn't have stood up and take responsibility for it. It's very difficult for that angle.
In the old days, Desi, Stephen Cluxton would have been brought up there with that left boot. He scored 47 points in the past, but in recent times Jim Gavin, I think, has decided he's not going to be taking them.
I think if you look at Dean's record, he probably gets over 90% of his shots, so it mightn't be much of a need.
3 goals and 24 so far this season, and 20 points of those are from frees. He's got 345s already converted in this just championship, looking for a fourth here. Light breeze into his face. Perfect day for football. So a deep intake of breath. Manu says he has modelled himself on Johnny Wilkinson. Well, that one isn't the best. Didn't have the greatest of luck in the drawn final last year either, but he got 9 points in the replay. Yeah, so it stays at a goal to 2 points.
And that's the thing about free taker, Ger. I suppose for the first one being so difficult, he probably might be better off giving it and going playing short, because it put a bit of pressure on his second one, and that was a poor kick as well. And all of a sudden, his mindset might change, his confidence might dip a small bit.
David Clark with the Mayo kick out. There's so much talk about kick-outs and Mayo goalkeepers in recent seasons. This one is one eventually, because in there is Jason Doherty foraging. He managed to pick it out. There were 3 Dublin players near him. Ball's going to be brought forward 13 metres for a little bit of indiscipline. Lee Keegan's going to take it in as far as Aidan O'Shea. Soloing almost caused him a little bother there, but he managed to hold on to it. Durkin's available. Paddy Durkin has come in as a late replacement for Diarmuid O'Connor, who's been troubled by hamstring problems in recent times and hasn't recovered sufficiently. And that's spilled by Kevin McLaughlin into the challenge. There came James McCarthy, bottled up.
Yeah, and it's getting physical, Ger, all around the pitch. You see players getting involved with scuffles.
Dean Rock playing it on very, very quickly here on as far as Paul Flynn. All the way across here towards O'Callaghan. It's a difficult one for him to contain. Line ball.
Yeah, I suppose 2 teams that know each other so well, they're not going to give an inch.
It's exactly what you expect. Cillian O'Connor way back there to link up with his goalkeeper. Early stages in the final. It's always promised to be a fascinating prospect, and so it has turned out so far. 10 minutes since Dublin got their goal. Paddy Durkin getting it out here towards Tom Parsons. Now he's got open space in front of him. Flynn's in front of him, doesn't challenge him. Cooper comes out, fists it away from Jason Doherty. Good play again by Johnny Cooper. Does so much immense good work back there. Out to Brian Fenton, can carry it on and gives it away rather poorly to Colin Boyle. All the way up as far as the unmarked Cillian O'Connor, who took his eye off it.
Yeah, and a massive opportunity for Cillian. He was in 30 yards of space on that opportunity. If they got the ball and held on to possession, it was a good scoring opportunity.
Surely this is all down to nerves.
Yeah, I would imagine it's a little bit of nerves, but like there's so much at stake, and both sets of players want to make everything right initially, and it's a big day for these both sets of players.
Dublin will build again from the back through Philly McMahon. Taking it up, James McCarthy, new role for him this season. He really has adapted to it terribly well. Play there, of course, for Ballymun Kickham's as a centre field player. Showing his pace. Parsons goes after him, gets the hand in, does well. And that's the kind of hard work, the grafting that you got to do if you're going to win the championship. Keith Higgins. Suddenly there's a gap. Suddenly there's a support player outside him. It's Kevin McLaughlin, able to crack it. Looking to try and tie it up here. Full recovery made by Mayo.
And what a score, what play by Tom Parsons. Great heart, great energy. And Keith Higgins driving up the pitch. Brilliant play and a fabulous finish then by Kevin McLaughlin. That'll lift the crowd.
So similar to the replay where last year Dublin got the first 4, Mayo got the next 4. Great catch by Aidan O'Shea. Very good spell this for Mayo. They've responded and reacted very quickly to that Dublin goal. Lee Keegan put them in front here. Under hits it.
Yeah, and Kieran Kilkenny let Lee go for a split second and he got up the pitch. He should have scored in that opportunity.
Brian Fenton, this time much more careful, down as far as Con O'Callaghan. Dublin haven't scored for 12.5 minutes in this match, but they've got a chance coming up here now because O'Gara, just passed that ball intended for Andros, but he's gone back to try and pick it himself on O'Gara, and to kick it over the bar at the end of all of that, if he can. And the umpires aren't sure, so they're going to go to Hawkeye.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned it about nerves, and it's unusual for two teams at this level, but certainly a lot of ball handling errors at this stage. And Owen O'Gara, when the subsequent shot went to pick it up, he struggled to pick it up and he put himself under pressure.
I think the sun is in the eyes of the umpires down at that goal at Hill 16. I think that's probably why the umpire wasn't absolutely certain, because it's well in, as you can see.
Yeah, well, I was surprised. I suppose the supporters generally give you an idea from the hill, but not on that occasion, so he'd be happy with the score.
So Dublin take the lead once again. Golden a point to 3 points.
And
nearly a quarter of an hour gone.
And I think as well, throwing Owen O'Gara in there has upset very much the Mayo back line. They're all over the place. Players are marking players they hadn't planned on, and a good tactical move by Jim Gavin.
It was strongly rumoured last night that he was going to start, but there are always rumours. Middle of the park right now. It's picked up here by Keith Higgins, ready to go again. Aidan O'Shea's got his hands on the ball quite a bit in the early minutes, looking to be the dominant factor of this game. Once again, a big difficulty with soloing that. Hasn't ever scored in an All-Ireland final. Tom Parsons again looking around. Durkin ready to make a run. Parsons holding. Durkin now cutting inside, wrong-footing a couple of Dublin defenders, but the finish does not have his usual polish and assurance.
Yeah, and that's two good opportunities Mayo have missed, and he would have expected, he had time, he could have brought it in a small bit further and knocked it over the bar.
Tuxton straight down through the centre, nobody picking up Paul Flynn. On his shoulder here he's got O'Callaghan. Boyle is going after him. Out here as far as Dean Rock, under hitting it again, and David Clark able to make the save. The sun is a factor there for the goalkeeper and for the defenders during the opening 35 minutes. Shamie O'Shea.
Yeah, I think Dean will be disappointed with that, dropping it short. That's his third miss. But again, coming from a long kick out from Stephen Cluxton, he's going long an awful lot today.
Mayo quite comfortable, just building up in a nice relaxed fashion, then putting on the injection of pace. Down went Boyle.
Yeah, it's a heavy tackle from Paul Mannion, and he'd do well to get away with a yellow card here. Yeah, I think, you see, he went in with the feet. Yellow card.
First yellow card of the match, we would imagine, and it's for Paul Mannion. A bit early to be picking up a yellow card like that, only 17 minutes into the contest.
Yeah. Colin Boyle's a tough man, in fairness, he gets up and gets on with it. But Mayo are doing well, they've settled into the game after that early blow. I'm
sure older Mayo fans were probably thinking back to 2006 and 2004 before that, when they were pretty well hammered by Kerry in those finals. This time it's Jason Doherty showing assurance, giving it off here to Andy Moran. They've had some good link-up play this year in the championship, but it doesn't end with a score, and it's already a third wide by Mayo.
And Kevin McLaughlin picking up good ball, great ball in there from Jason Doherty out in front of Johnny Cooper, and Andy will be disappointed with that since the form he's in.
John Small has made that centre half back position very much his own since the Leinster final, taking that return pass. Now an opportunity to belt it in inside towards O'Gara, fisted away from him however by Donny Vaughan, and out comes Paddy Durkin. So far they've handled most of the difficult moves that Dublin have managed to put together. Again, the referee sees an off-the-ball foul, brings the play up to the 45-metre line.
And it's Aidan O'Shea and Cillian O'Sullivan, and I think Aidan is marking him pretty much all the time, but he wants to take him on at every opportunity.
I think Dublin fans will be quite disappointed. The fact that they made such a wonderful start to the game, got a goal after just under 90 seconds, haven't really built upon that so far.
Yeah, well, not to forwards. Dean Rock has missed a couple of opportunities. Owen O'Gara's gone on the score sheet once, but certainly you would say that they've missed some very good opportunities.
Johnny Cooper's on the ground. Meanwhile, Cillian O'Connor kicks and puts it over.
Yeah, and I mentioned there's a bit of stuff going off the ball, and certainly Mayo manoeuvred that where Johnny Cooper ended up on the ground.
Teams level once again. Cooper ended up on the seat of his pants, pleading to the referee. Play continued, and O'Connor put it over.
Yeah, and we're watching Stephen Cluxton here, and he has to go long. Mayo are putting massive pressure on that kick out.
Into the centre where it's 2 against 2, and Tom Parsons clutches this one.
And you see them, they're playing with a bit of confidence now and a bit of a swagger.
Aidan O'Shea, again full of ideas, lots of movement, drilling it inside. Great angle runs being made by different players. Andy Moran looking assured. That's another, he's got 2.
Yeah, and his movement gives him an extra yard of pace. It's just incredible how he moves. He's such an intelligent player, and he'll be delighted with that finish.
It's early in the final, but they've already got 5 scores on the board. Watch this again here. That's what happened there, and that's where I think Johnny Cooper ended up on the flat of his, well, the seat of his pants, I think it was.
Yeah, well, I suppose what you're saying is 2 teams so familiar with each other, and I can remember last year's final. I thought it was a very physical game in both encounters, but Joe McQuillan will have his hands full. Like, both players know in the dark arts, they know how to get away with things, and certainly they're trying it out today.
It's looking like a big test for his team this afternoon. They haven't had too many of them so far in this year's championship. This time the referee, by the way, is going over, and he's having a word with his linesman Conor Lane, who's informing him, I think, as to what may have happened. And there could be a little chat between referee and one of the players.
Yeah, I think he's telling Philly McMahon that's the pulling.
Next kick out about to happen. Dublin goes short, out as far as Mick Fitzsimons, pressurised by Andy Moran. Johnny Cooper, Cian O'Sullivan, down towards Paul Flynn, trying to take it in his stride, but he's challenged vigorously by Seamie O'Shea. And you can see they're absolutely going to give Dublin nothing. They will have watched the semi-final where Dublin absolutely lorded it, and occasions Dublin's movement and speed is bewildering. And here's Flynn off towards O'Gara. Now, can he make the necessary headway? That's a foul on Paddy Andrews. That's a free in. It's one thing that Mayo cannot afford to be doing, giving away free kicks 30 metres out.
Yeah, that's a poor free to give away. Donald Vaughan shouldn't have done that. Careless. Dublin were struggling to break them down. They hadn't plenty of numbers back, and he just lunged in there, and silly free.
Pushing the back, really quite meaningless.
And an important kick now for Dean.
Well, Dean has had a couple of chances. One very difficult free, 145. This one, just about 25 metres out, should be his first point. Makes no mistake. So once again, the teams level here. Dublin 1-2, Mayo 5 points. Tight, intense match so far, 22 minutes in. Mayo, by and large, giving as good as they have been getting. David Clark, looking at what's on, decided to go down through the centre again, but it's cut out here by John Small, and the referee saw a foul by a colleague. Think about it with James McCarthy. Yeah,
a little block there on Aidan O'Shea, and the referee was right on it.
Colin Boyle driving forward once again, the left half back of Mayo. Off as far as Kevin McLaughlin, 45 metres out in towards Andy Moore, and he's winning another one here. They can't get tight enough on him. Can he finish? The umpires have a look at it and wave the white flag. Andy's got 3.
Yeah, and what an opening half for Andy Moore. And going into this game, Jim Gavin would have known he's the main threat for this Mayo side, and it's a great return. 3 points in the first half of play.
The kick out down the middle, and Mayo won it again. What's happening to the seemingly perfect Dublin kick-outs time and again? It's Mayo who is seizing on them. From Seamie O'Shea, it's kicked in there towards Jason Doherty. They can do little wrong at this stage.
Yeah, again, all coming from Stephen Cluxton kick out, but that's the hard work of the Mayo full forward line, putting massive pressure on it, forcing them to go along, and a brilliant score from Jason Doherty.
The Ware foreigner for Dublin, who's Jason Sherlock, ran in immediately, went up to Stephen Cluxton and had a word with him. Is it to be a little bit of variation? It is this time. Out to the wings to Brian Fenton. Kick back in here to his midfield ally, James McCarthy. Space in which to manoeuvre down towards O'Gara, but that's hit rather indiscriminately, and Colin Boyle is able to get onto it quickly. Aidan O'Shea's picking up a pile of ball about 40 metres out from his own goal. He's got extra man the whole time.
I suppose they're trying to keep Cian O'Sullivan in position, Dublin, and by doing that they're letting Aidan O'Shea drift out the pitch and get on plenty of ball.
Donald Bohan 2 against 3 inside, 1 for Cillian O'Connor to compete with, but it's eventually Cian O'Sullivan who does emerge with it. Out to Paul Flynn. McCarthy once again. They belted a few balls down into the goal-mouth area intended for O'Gara. Hasn't won them very much yet, so they're going to build up in a more measured fashion with pace, and Small deciding to kick. We know he can score, and he's done it here.
Yeah, and he's done it in last year's final as well. He's a player that has improved his game immeasurably, but I would have to say the Dublin forward line as a unit aren't working right now.
It's a 1-point game, Mayo leading. Keith Higgins. Once more they're able to start from the back, and the Dublin forwards aren't really getting tight enough on the ball carriers out of their own 45-metre zone.
Yeah, it's very easy for Mayo half-back line to get out and create other attacks. Again, we see Paddy Durkin driving down the wing here.
There's a certain amount of what Dublin were doing to Tyrone in the semi-final in this. It's Mayo this time, however, who are able to carry it forward, pretty much do as they will. Chris Barrett towards Andy Moran. This time the Dublin hands get there first and Simons gets it out, but only as far as Barrett again. Aidan O'Shea looking up, summing up what's on for him, cutting inside and cutting past Kieran Kilkenny, who's been largely anonymous in this game so far. Back it comes to Andy Moran. Mayo having much the better of it, but only leading by a point. And the possession of that goal after about 90 seconds, the big factor so far in Dublin's favour, that they're still there.
And I'm just looking, every single Dublin player, bar Owen O'Gara, is back in their own half right now.
Not what you associate, but they're doing what they have to do. Keith Higgins. A lot of possession. Now is there some product at the end of it? It's Donny Vaughan cutting in. Doherty was an option. Decides to go against that option, but now it is given back to Donny Vaughan once again from Durkin. Was there a foul there by Johnny Cooper? Referee was very close to it. Emerging was Paddy Andrews. The Mayo fans thought they were going to get a free kick. Instead their team are back under pressure again with Conor O'Callaghan kicking it down to Dean Rock. Rock advancing, O'Gara trying to make an angle for him. Rock deciding to go it himself. Superbly done. Tight angle, but he's got a second point, the first to come from open play, and he's tied up the match again, level for the 4th time in this final.
Yeah, and Donald Vaughan will be disappointed with himself. Lost the ball in possession. Mayo supporters are calling for a free. Didn't think so myself, but Dublin on a quick counter-attack did very well.
Lee Keegan's been spoken to, so a card out, and he fears the worst, and the worst on this occasion is a yellow card.
Yeah, there was a bit of off-the-ball pulling there with Kieran Kilkenny, and he'd be disappointed to pick up a yellow card. Of course, he didn't finish last year's game.
So 1-4 to 7 points. David Clark has gone pretty long with most of his kicks so far, feeling there is some benefit to be gained. John Small now, and Cillian O'Connor there as well. John Small the one who gets it.
Yeah, John Small, I suppose, again, a good physical player, but lots of that going on all over the pitch there. I don't know what the boys did particularly wrong to pick up their yellow cards.
Could be earlier incidents that were brought back to the referee's attention some minutes after they happened. David Clark down through the centre again. Aidan O'Shea is the target, touches it down to his brother Shamey, and the older brother takes off and gives it to Lee Keegan. Booked a few moments ago. Small's after him. Inside to Cillian O'Connor. Holds it. Philly McMahon is marker. Shamey O'Shea. Feet were out, ball was in. Dublin fans appealing for a line ball. Cillian O'Connor all the way back to Tom Parsons. 2 men on the other side, totally unmarked. Breaks kindly for Jason Doherty. Gives it off here as far as Kevin McLaughlin. Into Andy Moran. Being careful about each pass, trying to deliver it perfectly, trying to pick that perfect moment to kick a point, and they do it again. And once more it's Jason Doherty, second of the day for him. The full forward line right now has scored 6 points from play.
Yeah, and what you're seeing is great composure from the Mayo team. Dublin have numbers back, but at the same time Mayo are very patient in their play, moving the ball around and finding the right option.
From the kick out there, it was in came Bohan, then Aidan O'Shea, challenged. It was James McCarthy who caught him. Referee gives an advantage to Mayo. Tom Parsons carrying it on into Jason Doherty. A couple of players in support of him here. Shamey O'Shea is one of them. Has the power and the determination to get it in there into Cillian O'Connor, kicking on the run, but it runs away from goal and Andy Moran can't keep it in. Fourth wide. Yeah,
again, well won possession around midfield. Stephen Cluxton not happy with his performance, I'd say, so far. Mayo seem to be dominating around the midfield.
Again, the referee. Now he's going back for an earlier foul, which was by James McCarthy. He'd allowed an advantage for that. And the referee out with another yellow card.
Yeah, he's partial to yellow cards, as Joe McQuillan, I have to say.
There have been a few. Cluxton belting it away down, giving it away again. This has happened in the past when Dublin have been playing Mayo. He's had some bad moments, Stephen Cluxton, with his kick out. This one works out, however, because eventually Dublin are able to win it back.
I think the movement, Ger, is not out the pitch right now. There's not much movement from the Mayo or from the Dublin midfield or half-back line, creating opportunities to get rid of the ball.
Paddy Andrews has the ball stolen by Chris Barrett. And you know, before too much longer, you begin to get the feeling that Jim Gavin and the management team will start looking at that very highly vaunted substitutes bench. Here's Kevin McLaughlin. Runs away from him, caught there by Cian O'Sullivan, and the referee gives the free to Mayo.
Yeah, and Cian O'Sullivan will be very happy to give that free away, because Kevin McLaughlin was gaining ground on him and he knew what to do, pulled the arm back, a definite free in.
This is the steal earlier on there.
Yeah, great play by Chris Barrett. He's having a brilliant season. But again, as I mentioned, the forward line of Dublin as a unit haven't been flown.
This, I think, is the first free kick for Mayo. Cillian O'Connor has scored once. I mentioned all the Dublin subs. The Dublin outfield subs today on the programme have 326 championship appearances between 10 of them. So there's an awful lot of experience there.
Yeah, and we haven't seen too often this year Dublin in an uncomfortable position going into half-time. Certainly Jim Gavin will be looking at that bench and seeing what options he has.
Mayo need to take their chances, and that's not one of them taken. It's gone astray.
Yeah, Cillian O'Connor will be very disappointed with that. It's a free you never see him miss.
Look at the who's who of
Michael
Dara,
football. Bernard Brogan won't be happy he didn't get on the last set.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Connolly, and of course Jack McCaffrey is a big loss as well. So
sure is. Mick Fitzsimons as far as John Small. Mayo will be quite happy if the Dublin side have to start from a deep position and work very, very slowly, because they've been able to get a lot of bodies back. Suddenly it's Philly McMahon trying to break the press. Lee Keegan in as far as Kieran Kilkenny. That's a bit better from him, holding on strongly. Vigorously challenged, over vigorously challenged. Free kick, no question about it. The referee could bring the ball forward 13 metres, but doesn't do so in this particular instance.
It looked like the ball had been lost by Kieran Kilkenny, and it was very physical play, but you would say it just seemed like the ball was lost, and the Mayo supporters certainly didn't agree with that decision.
Free kick anyway to Dublin, and Kilkenny to take it. Back here to Cian O'Sullivan. He's won All-Ireland medals in 3 different positions on the field. Looking to win another one this afternoon. Conor Callaghan hoping to win his first senior All-Ireland medal after a great start to this match. Into Flynn, able to give it back to him. Back to McCarthy now. Once again O'Callaghan, a lot of passes. Flynn eventually deciding to have a go, but misses it badly. And it stays Mayo in front by a point, with about 2.5 minutes or so to go to half-time.
Yeah, and defensively Mayo are set up very well today, put massive pressure on the kicks, and every forward wanted to get a shot away. It was only Paul took it on, and disappointing effort off his left boot.
Well, Dublin will feel that in the second half they will have the wherewithal to get things together yet. Only a point the margin. Shamey O'Shea. Andrews chasing after him. Goes all the way back to the very experienced Keith Higgins for whom this is a 61st championship appearance today. Out to Colin Boyle, whose game has got better and better all through this season. McLaughlin so energetic. Feeding it forward to Doherty, who's got 2 points so far. Not the greatest of passes to give to Cillian O'Connor. There were too many dubs there, and Brian Fenton eventually comes out with it. And there's nobody at all on Paddy Andrews. And now Dublin could break quickly, looking to get another point and tie up the match. Fenton. Mayo get the bodies back well inside the 45-metre line. John Small taking it on. Here's McCarthy. Once more, Con O'Callaghan. Such a long time since he got his one and only score, but what a score that was. That brilliant opening goal. It's Johnny Cooper who's decided to join the attack. On O'Gara. Held back. Cooper again. And then eventually, a couple of bodies colliding. Chris Barrett, one of them with Andrews. Referee says there wasn't a foul. It's the coming together of bodies, so Dublin play on. No free kick. Kieran Kilkenny threads it in territory towards Mannion. Then he stumbles over, trying to bend his body to take it up, and it's Shamey O'Shea who comes out with it. Still Mayo leading by 8 points to 1-4-8-7. Tom Parsons heading close to stoppage time at the end of the opening 35 minutes, where Mayo will be very, very pleased with the way in which they have recovered from the body blow of such an early goal conceded.
Yeah, they're growing in confidence in defence. The more times they dispossess that Dublin forward line, they're growing in confidence. But at the same time, Dublin have plenty of options in there.
Taken forward here by Keith Higgins with 3 minutes of injury time to be played. Cillian O'Connor kicking it up here into the sky. He's missed a free a few minutes ago. Cluxton takes it down. Back out as far as Cian O'Sullivan. Dublin once again looking to try and rediscover that kind of methodical style of theirs that they showed earlier on in the championship. John Small now, all the way down towards O'Gara, held off there by Brendan Harrison, and Harrison does well against Owen O'Gara. There was a foul, free kick to Mayo, and the referee's got to bring the ball forward.
Yeah, 4 ball in there.
O'Gara starting his first championship match of the season. I have an idea he also started the championship match against Donegal back in 2014. The one day that Dublin don't want to be reminded of.
Yeah, and I look at there is Owen O'Gara, but it's not nice to watch. There's the hand in the face there, and the referee must have missed that one.
Well, it might be brought to his attention. Aidan O'Shea back deep. He's worked very, very hard in the opening 35 minutes against Brian Fenton here. Holds on, gets a support player with Keith Higgins on his shoulder. Mayo trying to finish off the half now, maybe with the last scoring opportunity. O'Shea, businesslike as ever. Parsons. Boyle moving freely. Slipping it back inside here to Cillian O'Connor. Taking a return, cracking it with the outside of the boot and putting it over the bar. Colin Boyle.
Yeah, and that's how again we've seen from him. He's an incredible player, 2 times All-Star, but on the outside of the boot, brilliant score, and that's one way of putting Con O'Callaghan on the other foot.
That was a brilliant team point, you know. Several players involved, and Colin Boyle taking the responsibility and having the confidence to have a go from 30 metres out. Dublin in a spot of bother, down by 2.
Yeah, and it was a brave call for Jim Gavin to throw in Owen O'Gara, but I think right now the full forward line for Dublin isn't working as a unit.
John Small, down it comes to Kilkenny. Oh, he clashes with his own man, Paddy Andrews. Surrounded immediately, and the referee then blows for a free kick from Mayo.
Yeah, you see it there. Jordan, 2 players colliding, very unusual, but again, he was being bottled up, and Joe McQuillan gave a free in there.
It's a free into Dublin.
Yeah, free into Dublin.
He's not happy. I don't blame him. It's puzzling. Well, we played the 3 minutes of added time, but the referee will allow an extra few seconds. That's his reaction to that. couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and it's not too often you see Stephen Roster getting animated on the sideline. But a big kick for Dean, and an important kick going into half-time.
It's just inside the 45-metre line. Lightbreeze against him. Mayo fans not one bit happy with that, because they felt, if anything, it was just two Dublin players colliding. And they're puzzled by the referee's decision. But it's made now. And Dean Rock, who's got 2 points already in this game, one of them from a free kick. The boos and the jeering ringing in his ears.
Yeah, and Joe McQuillan looks like he's going to book Colin Boyle. There was a little bit of off-the-ball stuff went on, but it was a lot of players were involved. And he's picked out Colin Boyle in this instance, but I kind of feel myself that there was a lot more than him involved.
It's a yellow for him. So the two wing-backs on paper, at least 5 and 7, have got booked by the referee for Mayo.
Yeah, and a little bit of gamesmanship going on here with Andy Moore. He's standing right in front of Dean's line, and
well, he's got to be back the requisite distance. Back those 30 metres. Dean Rock then composing himself, as you say, Desi. An important kick for Dean and for Dublin. Just before half-time, gets it up into the air with accuracy and with ease, and puts it over.
Yeah, and that shows a real sign of a quality player. Lots of pressure all on him. The boys are encroaching on his space, and a brilliant kick, and great play by Dean.
It's a one-point game as they go in at the break at the end of a very eventful first half of the All-Ireland football final. We had a superb goal after just 90 seconds or a little under by young Con O'Callaghan from Coola and Dublin, but then Mayo came back, took the lead several times. Dublin have responded, and that last point there by Dean Rock, his third of the first half, means there's just one between the teams. At the break, it's Dublin 1-5, Mayo 9 points. We're back with Michael and the panel right after this.
You read the game better when you've all the facts.
football final of 2017, and as it stands, Mayo leading Dublin by a single point. 9 points to 1 goal and 5 points. When the lads came in towards the end of that first half there, Joe Brolly said, "Now we're sucking diesel."
Well, this is more like it. And, you know, Mayo have been absolutely emphatic. Kieran Kilkenny's been taken out of it. Cluxton has been forced to kick long, and the kick out is disintegrated with the way Mayo are playing zonally out there. The diagonal ball's working very well into the Mayo forwards. Andy Moran scored 3 points, but in general, it's so full-blooded by Mayo. The tackling, the number of great interceptions, and in general, Mayo have been the better team, and they've got the bit between their teeth here.
And obviously we can't overanalyse the column with only a point in it. And I mentioned something before the match, way back in the programme, the date of the replay.
Yes, it's looking like that again, and I suppose after a minute of play we thought, here we go again with Mayo giving away a goal. But they've played, I think, with a controlled ferocity for most of that first half and been much the better team as far as I'm concerned. The worry for them is they're only 1 point behind, but Dublin don't look up to match speed. Maybe all those easy games haven't been good for them, and Mayo are playing with a calmness in their approach, and in many ways they've stole Dublin's close. They're keeping the game wide. They've forced Cluxton into kick-outs. Joe was saying Kieran Kilkenny is not an issue in the game, Brian Fenton. So what they have done is nullified all the main players on the Dublin team and have been very good going forward. Like, they scored brilliant points from play. Jason Doherty and Andy Moore, great again. And we asked the question, can they just keep up this relentless pace?
Yeah, that's what they have to do now, Pat. I mean, they lead by centres of margins, but the question is, can they drive on?
And they've been in this position before.
Correct.
Winning.
Yes.
You know. Now, bear in mind the last time that Dublin got beaten this year was in the league final. And Kerry gave a template that day how Dublin can be beaten. And Mayo have just carried on with the same template.
Yeah.
Mayo today, like Kerry in the league final, they're hammering the hammer. Cluxton's kick out. He's missed in the first half.
And only took 7 long ones.
Yeah. So Cluxton's kick out. Working the sweeper, Keane O'Sullivan. Keane O'Sullivan is not the same influence today. And the big thing, who's the conductor, who's the point guard of that forward line? Kieran Kilkenny, Lee Keegan nullifying. All the best football, all was played by Mayo in that half. When you look at some of the stats, Dublin forwards scoring 1 point from play in the first half. 1 point from play in the first half. I mean, that's...
But also, picking up on your point, Pat, about how, you know, full-blooded Mayo have been, you can see the difference in that with Dublin's very slow build-up. Mayo are going 100 miles an hour. Of course, Dublin are in their back foot largely because of the kickouts, but there's no doubt a difference in attitude.
But I would agree. It's time for us to take another short break here on the programme. Now, straight after that, it is our Sunday game competition and your chance to head off to Chicago.
SuperValu are behind the ball, from hundreds of grassroots clubs to the GAA Senior Football Championship.
game better when you've all the facts.
We've teamed up with Aer Lingus, Ireland's only 4-star airline, to give you the chance to win a 5-night holiday to the Windy City, Chicago. You'll jet off in style with Aer Lingus business class service and be treated to a 4-star stay at the Sheraton Grand Chicago, located in the heart of the city. And to make it a trip stateside to remember, there's $5,000 spending money for your pocket too. For your chance to win, answer this. The city of Chicago is located in which US state? Is it Illinois, Alaska or Hawaii? To enter, call 15 17 71 71 82. That's 15 17 71 71 82, or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57001. Calls from the Air network will cost €2.03. Calls from other networks may be higher. Viewers in the north can also text to 57001 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday, September the 18th. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we saw Imelda May in Las Vegas at the McGregor-Mayweather fight. Today, she is here with us in Croke Park. Just as exciting and a little bit more real, I suspect. Now, a reminder of the half-time scoreline in the 2017 All-Ireland Football Final. Mayo leading Dublin by 9 points to 1 goal and 5 points. By the way, the most impressive thing, or one of the most impressive things for me in Croke Park here today, is Joe Brolly's cufflinks. Show them the cufflinks, Joe. Because I just want to mention, I gave a pair of cufflinks to Joe a couple of weeks ago. I haven't seen them since.
Never got them back.
But those are the cufflinks of the former Vice President of the United States,
Joe Biden, but the reason that I got them was because...
Get rid of you?
He turned the sod on the first ever Mayo hospice last Tuesday, which was a magnificent day for us, and Joe has been kick-starting the fundraising for the hospice, which is badly needed, and also for one in Roscommon. So, I mean, I was so delighted. They just said, I want you to have these.
Joe, seeing that you lost my cufflinks, would you ask me for another pair while you're at it there? Listen, we've been talking positively about Mayo, Colin, but they did start off this match in the worst possible way.
Yeah. And, you know, Dublin, it seems from Mayo that they're not going to die wondering anymore, but Conor O'Callaghan's brilliant young Turk, he just waltzes through. Colin Boyle left in his way. Now, he does take quite a few steps, but again, it shows like the class of this man. He's the young footballer of the year, maybe he's the overall footballer of the year. Takes on the Dublin defence, because Dublin weren't doing this. They have been very ponderous in their build-up, and he side-foots it away. Colin Boyle not able to get back near him, falls and side-foots it into the corner. And it was about the only time he went at the defence. John Small has come up and gone at the defence, but we haven't seen anything of it. We haven't seen this Dublin pace coming from deep at all.
Owen O'Gara's not working.
But you're right when you talk about the pace, because once Jack McCaffrey went off, that X factor that he brought to Dublin this year, that huge pace between transition between defence and attack is now gone. Paul Flynn hasn't stuck it up well at midfield yet, and Owen O'Gara has been a major disappointment.
You spoke about Stephen Cluxton's kickouts, and this has been an important factor in the first half.
Mayo went after Kerry's kickouts, and they've been brilliant at doing this in the latter half of this championship. They've completely annihilated his kickout. He took 7 long kickouts, Mayo won 6, and what's their positioning? Cross McGlean used to do this under Joe Kernan. They would play a zonal, look along there on either side of the midfielder, forcing him in. And they've won so many of these, and in fairness, there's not a Mayo player who's shirking his duties today. 6 out of 7, and 4 of these were returned for scores. The net effect is that Dublin are being hemmed in, and Mayo are coming at them in waves. Because, of course, the nightmare against this Mayo team is to allow their half-back line to attack you, which is precisely what is happening.
But what Mayo have done is that they've got into Dublin, you know, they've got under Dublin's skins, they've got at them physically, and you know, you can see Dublin are a little bit unsettled, and I agree with Colin at the start. I think the fact that they got no test up to this championship, and I think...
Colin, this man is on the pitch, and Kevin McMenamin is also on for Owen O'Gara.
I'm not surprised. There was a mistake put
He's on, by the way, for Paddy Andrews.
I'm surprised that O'Gara started. This is a game made for Connolly. He have something to prove. But the Dublin subs have to come on to win the game for Dublin this time. Yeah. Normally they're coming on as a mopping up operation and looking good. They have to really play this time.
It's the first time, Michael, it's the first time since Donegal in 2014 at half-time where a Dublin team has been rattled. Now, they haven't been rattled to that extent, but there is no doubt that they are rattled here.
No, they were rattled last year in the semi-final against Kerry, and Kerry, do you remember, had a purple spell before half-time. Dublin came out reorganised in the second half, but like I said, Mayo are really up for it. You can't beat their resilience. You can't beat. They played all the football in that half.
They have no subs, Pat. They have no subs.
9 points from play.
Yeah, Colm, in the semi-final we saw Diarmuid Connolly coming on, a showboat appearance at the end of the match simply because the game was over at that stage. This is significant.
It is, because the only thing about it is lacking serious match practice. Now, we all hear about the ferocity of the Dublin A versus B games and things like that, but this is a different thing. To come on an All-Ireland final and Dublin under pressure, they're lacking that composure that we normally see with them. The calmness on the field is best exemplified by Mayo. So Dublin are now turning to Connolly in their hour of need.
But they have
been
under...
Bernard Brogan, by the way, sitting on the bench there as well.
They have been under the cosh many times, Dublin, and always they have eked out the victory. Always they have eked out the victory. So I said it at the start, Mayo, with this 15 who are on the pitch now, they're going to have to play the 40 minutes of their lives now in this second half to win it.
All right, lads, if you want to hear more from the panel after our coverage today, you can join them and Claire McNamara on our Facebook page, so do watch out for that. Right now, it is time for us to head back to Ger Canning and Desi Dolan.
Thanks, Michael. No changes from Mayo, but Dublin have sent for the reinforcements. And as you've been hearing, they've sent for the reinforcements probably earlier than they anticipated. And when you look down through Jim Gavin's subs list now at this stage, you're seeing Bernard Brogan, maybe Michael Dara-McCauley, who's played very little football for them this year. Not an awful lot else where forwards are concerned. This is it for Dublin. This is it for Mayo. Second half about to get underway. Dublin trying to restore their supremacy. Mayo trying to reaffirm their status as champions in the making. 35 minutes to go, and maybe a little more, the way football goes nowadays. And that's grabbed by James McCarthy straight away, and is tripped. Now that could be very, very serious. The referee allows play continue all the way up as far as Paul Mannion. And Mannion gets the second half underway in whirlwind fashion by knocking it over the bar almost nonchalantly. And once again, the teams here are level.
Yeah, great score by Paul Mannion. In that instance, great play by James McCarthy. Won the throw up, kicked it in quickly, but I suppose Aidan O'Shea protests that it was an innocent exchange.
Well, he got away with it. That's the main thing from a Mayo point of view, but in the past, well, we know what would happen. Black card stuff. Paddy Durkin. Back as far as Chris Barrett. Down here to Colm Boyle. Back to Keith Higgins. Durkin once again raiding, trying to cut past Fenton, succeeds in that. Now will he kick it himself? Turns it back here to Aidan O'Shea. Back outside, there were two players waiting for it. Jason Doherty takes on the responsibility. I'm not sure he was anticipating getting the pass. He's missed it anyway. Yeah,
but that was a great opportunity for Mayo, and they have missed a couple of opportunities that you would expect them to score in the last couple of minutes.
And that kick out again is attacked there, this time by Donny Bohan, getting there first. Michael Fitzsimons. Kilkenny getting the ball forward as far as Paul Flynn. It was the first of the subs to come on for the injured Jack McCaffrey. First touch for Diarmuid Connolly. Can he be the major influence that Dublin are looking for? Played so little football since that Carlow match. John Small all the way in, won immediately by Mayo. They control it. Higgins, simple little pass out to Shamie O'Shea, given off to his brother, then to Killian O'Connor, who's played very deep in the early moments of the second half. O'Shea once again to Tom Parsons this time, challenged by Connolly. Off goes Aidan O'Shea once again. Flynn, his nearest marker, opting against kicking it, lobbing it instead inside here for Doherty. 3 against him, lays it back outside. Difficult one for Andy Moran to get to. James McCarthy, and the referee has blown the whistle, and it's got to be a free in.
Yeah, there was a slight tug of a jersey there, but Mayo will be delighted to get that. There wasn't a whole pile of contact, but you can see he gets the ball here, picks it up, and there's a very slight stretch of the jersey. Joe McQuillan gave him the free on that.
Just one free kick in the first half for Mayo in a scoreable position, and Cillian O'Connor missed that one. Well, this one is a great deal easier, you'd imagine, just outside the 13-metre line. Attention being given to Jason Doherty there by the team doctor, Sean Moffat. And the physio coming in as well, Martin McIntyre, just to have a little look.
Yeah, and I think we said Jason Doherty's getting on a lot of ball. He's been very influential for Mayo this year, and he needs the necessary support that Andy Moore requires, but he would be a big loss if he struggles with that shoulder.
Peter Burke there in consultation with Stephen Rochford. 10th match in the championship, this of course for Mayo, so they are battle hardened. Cillian O'Connor kicks it over, no problems, one they needed.
Yeah, and that's the first score that Mayo have got from a free today. They've 9 points before that. That's the first free.
And Mayo back into the lead again. Short one as far as Johnny Cooper. Coming to take it and move the ball forward, James McCarthy. Con O'Callaghan made such an explosive start to this match. In case you joined us late, he scored the only goal after just under 90 seconds. Philly McMahon back once again to O'Callaghan, just holding up the point of the attack, waiting for Cian O'Sullivan to come forward. Down into space towards Mannion. Good quick layoff, brilliantly done. Dean Rock getting past Barrett, kicking and making sure. Lovely start to the second half for Dean Rock. A 4th point for him. And once again, these teams are level in the All-Ireland final.
Yeah, but Dublin looked to be a little bit more fluid in the second half, in the first couple of minutes, getting the ball in. Paul Mannion out in front, and a good score by Dean.
Tom Parsons rolling it back here towards Keith Higgins. Shamie O'Shea ready to take off again. Way on the left-hand side, he's got Donny Vaughan, ignores him. Tries to cut inside past Fenton, doesn't succeed. Good play by Brian Fenton, the Raheny player. Helped out by Kieran Kilkenny. Rarely touched the ball in the first half, Kilkenny. Connolly, second touch for him since coming on, all the way in here towards the other half-time sub. Kevin McManaman. Where he goes, Durkin will follow. McManaman kicking, and his confidence is high, and Dublin have got another one.
Yeah, and you can bring in players like Kevin McManaman in instant impact, and that's incredible. Great play, took on his man, great finish.
Dublin lead by a point. Keith Higgins into Parsons. Well, they knew what to expect in the third quarter of this match. Very often the moving quarter. Didn't always happen like that for Dublin in the last 2 All-Ireland final matches they played against Mayo. Donny Vaughan, very short. Shamie O'Shea. Chris Barrett. One sub that Mayo have still in reserve is Diarmuid O'Connor, even though he's been troubled by hamstring problems. Could come on, could play for 20 minutes and could make a very fine contribution. Aidan O'Shea. And the referee says he took too much out of it. Free to Dublin.
Yeah, and Aidan was ponderous on that occasion. It's very slow with decision making. Dublin had plenty of numbers back, but all of a sudden they're on the counter again.
The pendulum had switched in Dublin's direction, but that kick has been intercepted. O'Connor gives it back to Shamie O'Shea. 2 men outside him, one of them is Brendan Harrison. Into Colin Boyle. Able to cut through here, give it to Jason Doherty. O'Shea again now, quick hand passing back to Lee Keegan. Looking for Kevin McLaughlin. Straight away a wall of yellow shirted players in front of him. Gives it back once more to the Westport man into space, but there's nobody there for it except Nick Fitzsimons, and Johnny Cooper able to help it forward through Kieran Kilkenny. Once again, Dublin players exchanging passes here, 5-6 passes inside their own 45-metre line to work it forward to O'Callaghan. Ready to take off. Able to get it past Shamie O'Shea. Held on to well here by McManaman, who's already got a point since his introduction. Going to try and crack another one. Will he make the difference between the teams in the end? Not with this finish. First wide of the second half. 4th and all for Dublin. Yeah, Dublin by a point.
And these counter-attacks are coming from poor play from Mayo, and that's a couple of opportunities that have failed to break down the Dublin team so far. They need more runners from that half-back line coming through.
Fascinating battle on here at Croke Park. Dublin trying to win 3 in a row. First time that a Dublin team will have done that since the 1920s. Mayo, you well know about. Over 3 decades since they had their hands on Sam. They go long, down towards Andy Moran. 2-3 Dublin players around him, given off. Doherty, straight at the goalkeeper. Crucial moment of the game, you might imagine. Jason Doherty stymied, but he gets the ball back again. Gives it out.
It's a free in for Jason Doherty.
30 metres. But it was a goal there.
What an opportunity, and what play by Andy Moran. He picked up the ball one-on-one with Stephen Cluxton. He would have expected to score it. And a good height for Stephen, that's the only thing, and a great block then by Philly. But they got something out of it to get a free out, but was certainly what an opportunity for a goal.
It'll level up the match here, but that could well be one of the most crucial moments in this final. It'll be Cillian O'Connor to take it. Just pointed one, start of the second half. Similar position. They need a similar result, and they get it as well.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about Andy Moran. He stays deep. He stays as an option all the time. Won the ball, laid it off well, but a great save by Stephen Cluxton. He's an incredible keeper.
It was powerfully hit. Goalkeeper just got down brilliantly. They go short. Mayo retreat. Don't squeeze the Dublin backs carrying it out. John Small this time. Unlike in the first half, they are retreating Mayo somewhat, allowing Dublin to carry the ball forward, and Fitzsimon's willing to do so. Andy Moran putting in a challenge. Johnny Cooper went down momentarily. Back on his feet again. The referee has awarded a free kick, which Brian Fenton takes. In here, nicely gathered by Paul Mannion. He's in the clear, Mannion. There's another goal chance. Well stopped by goalkeeper Mayo, David Clark this time. Mannion again, trying to get something out of it. He might yet, he gets the point.
Yeah, and what an opportunity for Paul Mannion. But two brilliant keepers we have here today. Stephen Cluxton and David Clark, but David Clark did extremely well and nicely tidied up by Paul Mannion. But again, one of the best shot stoppers in the business is David Clark.
Comes off his left leg, resourcefully done. So the Dublin goalkeeper, the Mayo goalkeeper, have saved their teams. We're 10 minutes into the second half. It's anybody's match. Dublin shading it at this stage, making the brighter start to the second half, having been a point behind at half-time. Shamie O'Shea trying to go by John Small, trying to force him out. There's always a support player. It's Doherty back into Aidan O'Shea, changing the direction of the play through Parsons and Brendan Harrison. Colin Boyle staying on his feet, getting away from McManaman, giving back into Parsons, avoiding the challenge there of Brian Fenton. Back to Aidan O'Shea. Colin Boyle, that was a hefty challenge. Oh dear. Tony Vaughan then came in with a wild blow.
Yeah, it was reckless from Donald Vaughan, very high. He'll do well now.
First of all, John Small's on the ground. John Small has already had a yellow card in this match, but it was Donny Vaughan immediately after that.
Yeah, and you see it. Colin Boyle gets the ball. As he turns, John Small comes in extremely hard, very physical, right in on the chest.
Now that could have been a yellow card.
Yeah,
if it
very
was,
easily.
He'd have been off the field because he's already got one.
Yeah.
But then Donny Vaughan comes along.
Yeah, reckless. And an All-Ireland final, Ger, to do something like that. Like Donald McCullen would have dealt with the John Small incident, and for Donald to come in, it's very careless play in such a high-stakes match.
Real rush of blood to the head, and he must fear the worst now at this stage, as the referee and his two linesmen, Conor Lane and Pádraig O'Sullivan, are having a chat about what they have seen.
Yeah, big calls here.
Really big calls.
Yeah, it looks like John Small is going to pick up a yellow.
Well, if that is the case, Dublin will be down to 14. Yeah. Donny Vaughan wondering as well what his fate will be, and the Dublin manager stoically looks on.
Yeah, very careless. Like Donald, the decision was made by the referee, and you know, that's the second yellow
card, so that follows a red, and he's off.
We'll have to deal with Donald now, I'd imagine, and this could be interesting.
Well, he has to deal with it, there's no doubt about that, and he is going to deal with it. And Donny Vaughan now fearing that it'll be another red.
Well, he'd do well to stay on the pitch.
For striking an opponent, he knows it's red. Referee had no choice.
Yeah, and a hot ball as well, Jared. It's a double whammy.
It's 14 against 14.
Yeah, they're not helping themselves in this instance. Very poor play.
Now, who, if anything, does that benefit? Dublin losing a centre-half back, Mayo losing a very resourceful, mobile number 3, but he's really not playing number 3.
Yeah, well, Donald Vaughan is such a mobile player, an experienced player.
It's picked up by Kieran Kilkenny. Up here as far as Con O'Callaghan. Plenty of space in front of him. Supported here. Fitzsimon's trying to get to the end of it. Ball ran away from him. Mayo pick it up again. Lee Keegan kicks it out to Killian O'Connor, away through Tom Parsons, forward by Aidan O'Shea, and it's anybody's All-Ireland final. Jason Doherty, big huge one down. They can't keep it inside, however, and instead it's Stephen Cluxton. Andy Moran couldn't reach it. Diarmuid Connolly can. Back up here as far as Kevin McManaman. The Dubs been put to the pin of their collar to win 3 in a row. Mayo, fed up with all the losses, their 11th final day between actual finals and replays since 1989. McManaman feeding it in here, kicked forward by Flynn, overkicked, and Mannion couldn't get to it, saved by David Clark from going out.
Yeah, nothing between the terms. In terms of physicality, in terms of fitness, in terms of athleticism, both players evenly matched and a very evenly contested next couple of minutes.
And Diarmuid O'Connor will be coming on very shortly, maybe to inject fresh life into that Mayo attack. Right now it's his brother Killian who's trying to set up a scoring opportunity. Brilliantly defended there. It was Cooper who got across to keep it away from Jason Doherty. Some really brilliant, valiant defending on both sides. Diarmuid Connolly. We'll wait for the other Diarmuid to come on. Brian Fenton, leisurely stroke out to the left-hand side. Carried on here by Con O'Callaghan. McManaman out there as well. A lot of work to do to turn the defender Keith Higgins. He's done well. Higgins gets back at him. Turned all the way back to Connolly once again. Into the path of Cian O'Sullivan. 20 minutes to go. Yeah. Out as far as McCarthy.
And this is what Dublin do well. Create space, create options, and wait for the runner to come through at speed.
Mayo, meanwhile, have a couple of central defenders. They're trying to choke things up in the middle, but Dublin tried to break it. And it's Cian O'Sullivan. Fed beautifully. Beautifully over the bar through Brian Fenton at the end of all of that.
Yeah,
super point.
And as I said, they were so willing to be patient on the ball, wait for the opportunity, wait for the runners, and that's the problem with Mayo. They're going to start to tire in the next couple of minutes.
Well, off will go Shamie O'Shea. On comes Diarmuid O'Connor.
Yeah, and Diarmuid has a lot to offer. 3 goals and 5 points in the championship so far. Good man to get a goal, to lead one maybe.
Shamie O'Shea normally puts in a good 50 minutes, then he's normally replaced, and today it's Diarmuid O'Connor, who had been programmed to start. I mentioned that he has been suffering from hamstring trouble for quite a while now. DCU student Keith Higgins inside to Aidan O'Shea. Brendan Harrison now teeing it up here. Durkin holding on for dear life, feeding it outside eventually to the runner Kevin McLaughlin. Dublin leading by 2 points. Mayo with just 2 points to show for the second half so far. I find it much more difficult in the second half. Diarmuid O'Connor getting possession. Referee blows his whistle. Free in for Mayo. Chance to take it back to a 1-point game yet again.
Yeah, great play by Diarmuid O'Connor. Stephen Rochford would have sent him in, make an impact, do something, and he took on Brian Fenton, won the free. Wasn't many other options on. Good play.
He's played an awful lot of football, Desi. You know, last year he was the star of the under-21 success. This Mayo fan hoping all those years of misery will finally end. There's a great book by Keith Doggett called The House of Pain about the suffering that the Mayo fans and their team have had over the years. Hoping today will be their big day. Killian O'Connor kicking it, and the umpire goes for the white flag, and Stephen Rochford can realise that his side is back within a point yet again.
Yeah, and Stephen Cluxton getting away all his kickouts now. I think Mayo have decided that too much energy has been spent trying to cover them kickouts, and it goes on.
Onto it comes Dean Rock, giving it off here for Kevin McManaman. And again, there's a runner in the middle here. It hasn't been picked up. And it's James McCarthy. It's easy. It should be. Lovely score by James McCarthy. But nobody had picked him up and nobody was running with him.
Yeah, and Aidan O'Shea has had a fine match so far. Probably starting to tire a little, but James McCarthy found himself in lots of space. And Dublin are starting to open up opportunities.
Dublin by 2. Midway through the second half. David Clark belting it down. Paul Flynn jumping here, but it's won by the other midfielder for Mayo, Tom Parsons. Out via Jason Doherty. Aidan O'Shea once again feeding it forward here for Cillian O'Connor. Teasing ball inside here for Andy Moran. Fitzsimons is near him, gives it in beautifully. Keegan! He scored again! Did it last year. He's done it in the 2017 final. Lee Keegan on 54 minutes steps up to put Mayo in front, 112 to 111. Moran teed it up for him, but Keegan finished it emphatically.
And we hadn't seen Lee Keegan for a long time, but what a goal and what a finish. Great play by Andy Moran, picked up the ball from Cillian O'Connor, and what a finish.
A timely reminder once again that you don't take this Mayo team for granted. Chris Barrett feeds it back to Diarmuid O'Connor, back outside to Aidan O'Shea. Once again it's McLaughlin coming forward to raid, holding it, slipping it back outside to the younger of the O'Connor brothers. Aidan O'Shea has time now, deciding to have a go himself, to do what he's never done before and score in an All-Ireland final, but he's missed.
Oh, that was a bit of a reckless decision by Aidan O'Shea.
The big build-up.
Yeah, the Mayo supporters, it looked close, but at the same time it was a high percentage risk shot.
Still 112 to 111. As you can see, we're in the 55th minute of the final. Fitzsimons challenged by Andy Moran. Referee has blown his whistle. It's got to be a free for Dublin. Yeah. It's a bit of a blow, the concession of that goal. Things had been doing pretty nicely in the second half for Dublin. They were 1-5, remember, to 9 points down at half time. They scored 6 points in the second half, so another substitution coming in, and this time it's got to be Stephen Cohen.
Colin Boyle again put in a good shift. He's been quiet the last couple of minutes. Stephen Cole coming in. When I think I see Michael Macaulay warming up as well, and he's such a direct runner. You know that he's going to run at the heart of this Mayo defence.
And of course they have Bernard Brogan.
I'll take him as well for a couple of points.
Any team, anywhere would take Bernard Brogan. Kieran Kilkenny on to Johnny Cooper yet again. Fenton holding off the challenge of Doherty. Will come back once again, get goal side. James McCarthy kicked that marvellous point some time ago, just before the Lee Keegan goal. Kilkenny darting forward. Doherty's trying to keep up with him, gives it in towards McManaman, gets his hands on the ball and releases it back out to Dean Rock quickly. Connolly thought about the shot from some distance. McLaughlin goes after him, Parsons goes after him, Keegan goes after him. Referee says play away, I'm giving you an advantage.
That's incredible.
Connolly gets a mighty score.
Inspirational score. Everybody was hitting on the Mayo team, they couldn't stop him. Referee actually gave him an advantage. He looked at the referee and he says, I'll kick it over anyway, Joe.
Just shows us what a great footballer this man is. Back come Mayo. Diarmuid O'Connor turning around into the clear, trying to get away from his marker, slipping it to Chris Barrett, taking over Jason Doherty. McLaughlin, normally good for a score or two. How about that? And what a time to get it. Second of the match.
Yeah, brilliant play. One of my favourite players, Kevin McLaughlin. Very unselfish, very hard working, and a brilliant player. And a great finish there, Ger.
And very unheralded as well, Desi.
Yeah, he hasn't actually won an All-Star, which I was surprised to read this week.
Cian O'Sullivan. 13 minutes from the finish, plus the usual stoppage time. And really, it's impossible to separate these teams. Kieran Kilkenny just about manages to get it across here to the very determined and flying Johnny Cooper. Remember, it's 14 against 14. We've had 2 players sent off in this second half, 1 per team. Cooper again, bit more space. great defending. O'Callaghan picks it up, however. Challenged by Harrison. Back out it comes once more. Rock trying to get in, and that's over the bar, is it? Referee has blown his whistle.
Yeah, he gave the advantage, and I think Dean has knocked it over the bar, so the score is going to stand. But again, Con O'Callaghan, very effective, very strong. Dean on the line, they were looking for steps, the players, but yeah, good finish, took his score well.
It's 5 points for Dean Rock, 2 of them in the second half from open play, and good work by the referee to allow that.
Yeah, and I think Con O'Callaghan's just gone down with maybe a bit of cramp.
So level yet again, and they're level in this final for the 9th time. It's a remarkable final in so many respects. Everybody said, yeah, we think Mayo will put it up to Dublin, but I'm not sure everybody was convinced of that because Mayo have lost so many times. But they're giving it everything, and Dublin will not lie down. And Kevin McLaughlin comes yet again, chips it over. Moran makes the run to the right, trying to wrong foot Fitzsimons. Past Flynn, going back outside the D, onto his right. Poorly.
He's tired, and he had options. Andy Moran, a man of his experience, should have looked around him. Stephen Cohen, Kevin McLaughlin, they were all around him, and he took the opportunity himself, and poor play.
Cian O'Sullivan from the kick out. Brian Fenton lobbing it in here for Kilkenny to get there before Keegan. Interesting, it's not Keegan picking up Connolly. Free taken by Kieran Kilkenny all the way down towards Con O'Callaghan, trying to turn his man, who is Chris Barrett.
Brilliant play.
Barrett does well.
Yeah, brilliant play. Con O'Callaghan using his strength to try and manoeuvre an opportunity, but Chris Barrett again outstanding today.
Stephen Cohen on here, carrying it, turning it to Aidan O'Shea. Tom Parsons once again. McLaughlin belting it in here to a 2-man inside forward line. It's caught here by Cillian O'Connor, and he hits it high, very high, but very accurate as well. He's got 5.
Yeah, and always the ball, the excellent ball in. That's what caught Philly McMahon out of position. And what do you expect? Cillian O'Connor, an easy score for him, and I think he's actually going to book Philly now for that as well.
Mayo lead by 1. 10 minutes to go in the 2017 All-Ireland football final.
Yeah, and I think the introduction of players like Stephen Cohen and Jeremy O'Connor have made an impact for Mayo, and that's what they needed. Subs that can make an impression.
Billy McMahon yellow carded. Johnny Cooper. Well, the build-up was all about the number of subs that Dublin have got and the quality of their bench and how that was going to make an impact late on into the game. But as you say, Desi, David O'Connor, Stephen Cohen have certainly made their presence felt. Brian Fenton now slipping it in here cleverly. O'Callaghan laying it off to Dean Rock, trying to turn pass.
Again, Chris Barrett.
Again is Chris Barrett.
Yeah.
When we talk about unheralded players, you know, not all that terribly long ago, he couldn't even be sure of his place in the starting 15.
Yeah, a player he was taken off against Cork during the year, but he's been immense. Again, a player with no All-Star. He'll be in the running again this year.
Dermot O'Connor doesn't worry about All-Stars. He's been a young footballer of the year twice in the past. He wants an All-Ireland. He gives it to Keegan, who scored once already, struggling to get in here. Referee
he's given a free.
Eventually does give a free. He had his hands raised. I only might have been allowing an advantage to him.
And very close.
The chance.
Very close to a penalty as well, Ger.
Not too terribly far away, that's certain.
Yeah.
Have a look again here.
Here's the foul, but you can see it. There he is. He's pulled down.
That is inside, isn't it?
It's definitely inside. The initial contact may be made outside, but Mayo supporters would have preferred a penalty on that occasion.
Well, they've travelled here yet again in their absolute thousands. Conor Loftus is going to come in very shortly.
Yeah, and we know what he can do as a sub against Kerry. Made a brilliant ball into Andy Moran for the goal against Derry. Scored a goal himself and saved Mayo's season. So certainly you would say Mayo, if they knock this over, 2-point lead, 7 or 8 minutes to go, it's a very strong position, Ger.
Don't forget, Desi, the amount of time that's normally added on at the end of matches nowadays. Last year it was 7 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know the Mayo supporters be out for that kind of injury time.
114 to 113 can now very quickly become a 2-point advantage. Cillian O'Connor has got 5 so far. 2 of those have been from open play. He's now got 4 from frees.
Yeah.
115 to 113. On comes Loftus from Crossmolina, and going off the team will be number 15, Andy Moran.
Yeah, what a shift he's put in. Incredible standing ovation for Andy Moran. And that just gives you the measure how highly he's seen in Mayo.
3 points in the first half. Always the leader, always involved. Wonderful character, brilliant footballer.
Yeah, and that ball he gave Lee Keegan was exceptional. Set him up for the goal, and he shows all of experience there.
Now Dublin, what have you got left?
Yeah, I'm just looking at Jim Gavin. He's talking to Jason Sherlock, and I'm sure, like Bernard Brogan, certainly would make an impact now. You would have to imagine.
Cian O'Sullivan. They've used 3 of their possible subs. Kieran Kilkenny. Johnny Cooper now. James McCarthy. It's only a 2-point game. Dublin won't panic. Looking today for their 27th All-Ireland victory. Mayo looking for just their 4th. Inside to Paul Mannion. Again, the backs having the responsibility now, trying to keep him at bay. Mannion, elusive, quick, darting forward and squeezing it in from an almost impossible angle. That's Dublin for you, never beaten. Back to a 1-point game.
Absolutely, when you play like Paul Mannion, so elusive, taking on his man, and they always get the score. A lot of Mayo players are actually looking for a video referee on this occasion. Cillian O'Connor was screaming at Joe McQuillan. Yeah, and this could be very interesting, Ger, because it's unusual for a referee to go back like this.
Well, also the video official will have had a view of it already and might have had a doubt himself. So this is important. Is it a 1-point game or a 2-point game? It's it's good. Tosha Cadaha, it's allowed.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about Dublin. They do not panic. They keep on coming back. Great composure again.
Bernard Brogan is in.
Yeah, and that's no surprise. You're nearly guaranteed a score or 2 when this man comes onto the pitch.
The player who went off, by the way, is Paul Flynn. Possession vital here. It's won by Dublin. It's back in once again to Mannion. He's got 3 so far. Into Bernard Brogan. Fed back as far as James McCarthy. Is it inside the right-hand upright? It is. And the teams are level again.
Yeah, and you can see, as we said, there's great composure there, but what play by Bernard Brogan. Simply got the ball, knew the option wasn't on, laid a great pass to James McCarthy.
It really is a brilliant match. Aidan O'Shea, physical, tough, but that's what you expect. Cohen gives it back to Lee Keegan. Goal scorer after 54 minutes. Chris Barrett having to reel backwards here and just begin the next attack for Mayo. 4 minutes of the 70 to go, and then it'll be interesting just how many more minutes will be tagged onto that. Tom Parsons, Aidan O'Shea, 2 men unmarked ahead of him. Stephen Cohen, one of them, last year's under-21 captain. Beautifully in here to Loftus. Conor Loftus regained his control there. Little throw the shoulders past Kieran Kilkenny. Down he goes. Referee very near him. No foul committed. The referee decides. Into the breach here comes Durkin, trying to lay it off once again towards Loftus. Everybody intent on winning it, and finally Dublin do get it back, and it's kicked out by Brian Fenton to the completely unmarked Diarmuid Connolly. Unmarked for a moment that was. Slipping it over towards Dean Rock. The Mayo back missed him, and Rock fists it over the bar. It's a 6 for Dean Rock. You can watch again here. The back came out, missed it completely. Rock had the composure then to slip it over the bar with his fist to put Dublin back into the lead again.
Yeah, Conor Loftus had opportunities to lay it off, got caught in possession, was so quickly up the pitch to Diarmuid Connolly. Chris Barrett narrowly missed it, and it found its way to Dean. There was a great opportunity for a goal if he wanted to be a hero. Took the point.
In recent years, Dublin have won All-Ireland finals against Mayo by a point. Mayo come once more. Cohen inside to Cillian O'Connor. Remember the equaliser last year?
That is incredible, Ger. That is incredible score at this time of the game. Killian O'Connor.
7 points for O'Connor. So reminiscent, but up at the other end of the field last year to tie it up. He's done it again here. They're level for the 11th time. What about that? 116 to 116.
Yeah, no team deserves to lose this. Tit for tat throughout the game. Incredible composure from both sets of players.
Now Scully is on, gets his chance, deserves it. Didn't start the match, and the player is going off as the goal scorer, Con O'Callaghan. Kieran Kilkenny. Johnny Cooper. So is it to be a late winner, or will there be another day out for both these teams? McMenamin trying to make sure the business is done here and now. Back out here. Brogan running into challenges, lots of challenges. Higgins fills away, finally flat kicked away out of danger by Paddy Durkin, brilliantly taken by Kevin McLaughlin.
Yeah, and what play by Keith Higgins to bottle up Bernard Brogan. For a split second he had an opportunity, but both sets of players put their body on the lines, you would have to say.
We're seeing some magnificent performance, absolute heroism all over the park. A final is a credit to both squads of players and their management teams, aided and abetted by the wonderful supporters we have at Croke Park this afternoon. An absolutely engrossing contest.
It really is truly incredible how both sets of players at this level, at this stage of the game, can make such decisions.
The decision has gone Mayo's way. The line ball, the possession. Cooper incensed.
Yeah, to me it looked like it was a Dublin ball, so maybe that's a break Mayo needed.
We're inside the last few seconds of the 70 as we see
David Drake is in.
Come on, David Drake.
Yeah, powerful runner coming in for Jason Doherty. Very fit man.
Some possession from the sideline here for Diarmuid O'Connor. Jason Doherty, the one making his way off. He scored 2 points in the first half and contributed handsomely. But now it's all about who's going to win.
Yeah, it's a free in.
A run here, and it's a
free in.
Goal by Mick Fitzsimons.
Yeah, off the ball. Mick Fitzsimons got too close to Killian O'Connor. I just seen it on the corner of my eye. Joe said it there.
Huge call by Joe McQuillan to spot that. Pleading his case, Mick Fitzsimons. Just watch it again here. Arm held.
Yeah, just very slightly. But if we can remember, Killian O'Connor very late in the game last year missed a similar free from a similar position, and this was a big kick.
6 minutes of added time, I've just been told. The crowd is now being told Killian O'Connor at the beginning of those 6 minutes with the match level at 116 to 116.
Yeah, and Michael Fitzsimons very close to him there. Joe McQuillan is well inside, not looking at it.
As good a final as you could hope to wish to see. O'Connor making a better angle for himself. It's on the way, I think. Is it off the post? And comes back down to Brian Fenton, and Dublin can move smartly through the gears with Niall Scully. His first intervention since coming in. James McCarthy now. Dublin trying to bring the ball upfield and get the next score. Back once again here with Diarmuid Connolly. Turning away from Killian O'Connor after that free came off the post, and Dublin have the chance to benefit at the other end. It's Connolly. Mayo get the players back into key positions. Crucial 4.5 minutes remaining here. Back out towards Mannion, who's got 3 points already. Off as far as Scully. Only 1 point in this year's championship. He scored it against Carlow. Cian O'Sullivan went down. Referee wasn't too far away from it, didn't see a foul committed. Fenton keeps it moving. Dublin patient.
Yeah, they're looking for options.
The best option possible. What is it? Will it be this man, Cian O'Sullivan? Will it be that man, Bernard Brogan? With a little block on it by Keith Higgins.
Yeah,
and Keith Higgins is on the ground.
He can't walk.
Somehow, cramped up. But he somehow managed to catch it and give the pass off to Killian O'Connor and keep it going. Both sets of players, I think, are pretty much out on their feet.
Yeah, and the supporters willing on their players.
There's another 4 minutes of it. Aidan O'Shea to Parsons. Will there be a winner today? And which one of them will it be? Chris Barrett. On it goes to Keegan. Cohen now. Worked inside. Barry was trying to get it. Stopped by McManaman. McManaman back there in the half-back line doing the defending.
Yeah, here comes Connolly.
Connolly, yeah. Getting away from Drake. Diarmuid Connolly. It'll take just one composed moment, you would think, for one of these teams to land the point that will win the final.
Yeah, and a lot of players. I'm looking at Ciarán Kilkenny struggling from cramp. Paul Mannion struggling from cramp.
Well,
Keith Higgins went down as well.
Here's James McCarthy. He looks fresh. He's got a gap. He's 25 metres out, a little bit more. Back out to Connolly. Will Connolly be the man, be the hero? Not with this kick. It sailed well away.
Yeah, and they're trying to regroup again. Yeah.
Cormac Costello comes on, the man who broke Mayo hearts last year with 3 points when he came on as a substitute, has another, about 2.5 minutes to do the business with Mannion going off.
Yeah, and he has fond memories of what happened last year. I'm sure he'd look to get on every ball if he can. You know he's going to get an opportunity to score.
Such options that Jim Galvin has got. Right now, David Clarke, I think, is just slowing it down. You can see it. He's in no particular hurry. So important, and there is going to be another change, and Ger Cafferty is going to get a chance to come in. I think some of the players just cramping up and just unable to continue. Saw Keith Higgins there a moment ago. Yellow card was issued to number 12.
Yeah, big kick out as well for David Clarke. It's a full court press by Dublin.
Now Scully not long on and carded. It's kicked long. Dublin come to take, and James McCarthy brilliantly catches it. Are Dublin ready to take any chance that comes their way, and seize the moment? They've got this chance. Connolly fouled. Chris Barrett not deemed to have made the correct tackle, and it's a free kick from 40 metres out to perhaps win the All-Ireland.
Yeah, to try to create an opportunity for Aidan O'Shea to go out on top of James McCarthy, and it ended up James McCarthy won that kick out and creates a counter-attack. And then we had the players like the Jeremy Connolly were running straight at the heart of defence. It's very hard to tackle that man.
Of course, McLaughlin, on comes Danny Kerr, but really the most important thing right now, as you can see, we're under a minute of time to go as Ger Cafferty comes in. But really it's all now about Dean Rock, who scored 6 points in the match so far. Keith Higgins going off to be replaced. A free kick to win the All-Ireland.
Yeah.
Jim Gavin showing very few emotions, but I'm sure all kinds of emotions are running through Dean Rock's head. Playing in his 31st championship match, 27 years of age. His dad Barney did it many times in the past. This has to be the kick that goes over the bar if Dublin are to win the All-Ireland. It'll be heartbreak for Mayo. 116 to 116. 6 minutes into stoppage time. 40 metres out. Rock kicking up into the air and over the bar. And Dublin have surely won the All-Ireland.
Yeah, what a player to have to kick the free. He's done it time and time before. Like his father, great composure and a great score.
Well, the referee is halting play and having some words because all kinds of bodies colliding, as you can see there. That's Cormac Costello being spoken to, and he's got a yellow card. He's only on a few seconds. Dublin bidding to hang on now. It'll be a kick out from Mayo, who look to be crestfallen once again. There's still a bit of jersey pulling and tugging going on, but we're way over the 6 minutes, as you can see.
It's a black card for Ciarán Kilkenny.
A black card for Kilkenny.
Yeah, and under no circumstances was he letting Lee Keegan get away from that kick out and drag him to the ground off the ball.
How much more time will the referee add on?
Yeah,
he's added a minute. They always say it's at least whatever the number of minutes.
I think he should give Mayo an opportunity because there's a lot of time wasted there.
Will he do so? Joe McQuillan, the man in charge. Oh, David Clarke has kicked it out to the sideline and out over the sideline, and it's a Dublin sideline ball. And most of the noise now is coming from the Dublin fans in Croke Park.
Yeah, and it's just at the wrong time. He hit a bad kick out. He'd be very disappointed with himself.
Are they calling up? I thought for a minute they were going to call up Cluxton to kick this, but no, Bernard Brogan just going to kick it in. Don't need to do such things. Dublin hold on. Challenge there on Brogan, very near the sideline. Mayo can't win the possession, so they give it all the way back here. Cormac Costello playing his part, Johnny Cooper as well. Dublin advancing, Dublin leading, Dublin holding possession, frustrating Mayo, who've played their part in a really good final. The referee looks at his watch in the middle of the park. Dublin belted all the way back to goalkeeper Stephen Cluxton, and they hope that the whistle will sound in just a moment. Referee has another look at the watch. There's still a few seconds. Dublin just moving it around among themselves. Mayo can't win it back, however. Dublin have the advantage. They've got the ball. Time's running out. Cooper. They try to pin Cian O'Sullivan back there in the corner. Out comes Cluxton. Gives it off here to McManaman. Boots it out to Scully. Everybody was all over at the 45-metre line, and the referee finally does blow the whistle. It's all over. And Dublin are again the champions. The 3 in a row. The first time a team from Dublin has done it. Jim Gavin, you wouldn't think he had won a match. He said beforehand, it's just another game. But look what it means to the fans and to the players. Paddy Andrews in there to celebrate. But once again, defeat is Mayo's lot. Stephen Rochford and his team gave it absolutely everything. Luck just wasn't on their side at the very end of all of that. But it's Dublin who are the champions. It's a record of achievement that must be acknowledged. Final score, Dublin 117, Mayo 116. Some match.
Yeah, incredible match. Sure, Jim Gavin down there, he must be so proud of his players. What a bunch of players that it really has. Well, you would have to say Mayo put in an exceptional shift, but I think really we're witnessing one of the greatest teams in GA history. They'll go for their 4 in a row next year and their 5 in the year after, but I think Jim Gavin has really amassed a special group of players. So much honesty in their squad, so much quality and so much composure, and the big plays today, they came up trumps once again.
Well, it will always be remembered at the end as the moment when Dean Rock, deep into stoppage time, nailed the free that came his way from 40 metres out. He had to do it, and he's so good at doing that. So good at doing that. Mayo so disappointed. That is 6 defeats now in 13 years. But for the victors, it's an afternoon to relish. The good times are continuing. And we go down now to join Joanne Cantwell.
Dean Rock, congratulations. You must have nerves of steel, have you?
Look, just absolutely delighted the ball went over the bar. Dermot did very well to win the free, and it's my job to put it over the bar, and thankfully it went over.
He's getting plenty of congratulations here. I think you're the most congratulations person on the pitch. No surprises there, but what was going through your head? Because it wasn't any ordinary free.
Look, Chuck, as I said, it's my job to put the ball over the bar. I love being in those situations. Obviously, the league final, I learned from, missed a kick last minute to get a draw, and thankfully this time it went over the bar, just struck it well, and the rest is history now.
We've seen you involved in some great All-Ireland finals. This one looked particularly epic. Was it from your point of view?
Yeah, look, it's a point in it again. Like when we come up against Mayo, there's always a point in it. Thankfully, we've been on the right side of it. It's just unfortunate for them that they've been on the wrong side of it, but they're a fantastic team. They work really, really hard, and they bring out the best in us, and I'm sure it'll be the same next year again.
You made lots of history. How big is it to do 3 in a row?
Look, it's a dream come true to win 1, to win 3, 4, some lads win at 5. It's just incredible. It's just all down to the hard work that everyone puts in, from the backroom team to the players to guys who didn't make the panel today. They're up in the stands. This is for them.
It always helps when you get somebody who can hold their nerve and stick the ball over the bar like that. Well done, Dean Rock.
Well, Dean Rock, nonplussed by the whole thing, just doing his job, but he did it so methodically, so brilliantly. Dermot Connolly came on, made a big, big difference as well. The good times are continuing for Dublin. There's Bernard Dunn down there. Lee Keegan, a tear in the eyes, you can see that. Great goal after 54 minutes. At that stage, you thought the pendulum was slipping in Mayo's favour, but it wasn't to be. And who knows when and how the good times will end for these great Dublin players. Once again, Stephen Cluxton is ready to climb up those 34 steps, I was told, to receive that trophy. And make no mistake, the Dubs have taken nothing for granted. They worked extremely hard for their success. They prepared diligently, cheered on by vociferous fans. It's their 5th All-Ireland win, of course, since 2011, and their fans are rightly immensely proud of them. A great day. In a way, Desi, it was the match of the championship.
Yeah, it truly was an incredible occasion today. Great to be here to witness it. Jim Gavin deserves massive credit. He introduced 9 starters from the 2006 team, so he's always introducing new blood. They're a very honest squad, them Dublin players, to show so much respect. Every player of the Dublin team went down to the Mayo players to show and acknowledge the massive performance that they put in as well.
Mayo will be so heartbroken, and I think so many people all over this country and all over the world will share that heartbreak with them. I can think of one Dublin fan, however, Willie Fitzpatrick, who's not too well and he's living in Brisbane and he's been watching this, and a Dublin fan, and I think he's going to enjoy the afternoon. And I'm told that in Thailand, the GAA there, who are going to have their Asian Championships in November, have all been watching it as well. An awful lot of Dublin fans, and John Costello there just embracing Dean Rock, his dad, of course, the father of Cormac Costello. Well, Michael, we've certainly enjoyed it here. I hope the panel have enjoyed it as well. Dublin by 1, Dublin the champions.
Sure, Kenny, thank you very much indeed. There is absolutely no doubt that we enjoyed it in here. What a game of football, what drama. Did we expect anything else? Just looking out here, by the way, onto the pitch, the crowd is remaining in place pretty much. 90% of the crowd haven't actually moved yet. Now you'd say, OK, the Dubs weren't going to move, but the Mayo fans are staying as well. I think people are just trying to take in what they have just seen here this afternoon in Croke Park.
You're spot on. You're spot on, because we're punch drunk, we're absorbed, we are trying to take it in, because we saw an absolute brilliant sporting contest. Some heroic displays, twists, turns, but gee, Michael, and to the victor the spoils, and the victor's right to history, and the Dubs, in the end, eked out a victory and deserved it. But gee, my heart goes out for Mayo. It's 11 All-Ireland finals they've lost. I think this, and Joe was saying it earlier on, I think this is going to be the hardest pill to take. This was a game there for the taking. I don't know what I can say to the players, the people of Mayo. They died with their boots on, they gave it their all, but the better team probably on the day still won.
It's a very unusual one, Mark, because obviously we should and do congratulate the Dubs. This is the first 3 in a row for 30 years. What a fantastic performance. And yet, of course, as Pat said, you cannot but feel sorry for Mayo.
Well, Dublin are a wonderful team.
Yes.
And they play with the right attitude, and they go about their business always in the proper way. And they won the game playing good football. They had to score a series of good points in the last 10 minutes to win the match, and we should never lose sight of that. Despite the fact that, I suppose, the sympathy of the world goes out to Mayo and the way that they play with heroism from start to finish, and great individual displays. Like, oftentimes you come to Croke Park and Mayo haven't performed, but they performed close to their absolute maximum today, and at times had, I think, Dublin in serious trouble, but Dublin just were able to bring on good subs. They had a bit of composure, and they just, I don't think there was anything in it. I'd love if we were coming back for a replay.
You couldn't see, Joe, much more that Mayo could have done to win that match.
No, and that's why pause to see the sacred cup get lifted, but that's why today's, Michael, and today's is the worst. This is the worst of them, because with 5 minutes to go, you would have said, look, Mayo look like the team that are going to win this.
What a terrific moment.
I am delighted to accept this cup on behalf of the senior Dublin football team. This All-Ireland means so much to this team, and I would like to thank the officers of Croke Park for organising the competition. I would like to congratulate Mayo on a fine game today. We've got nothing but respect for you guys. You're a phenomenal team. We come back year after year. The consistency is unbelievable, and we have the utmost respect for you guys. Just thanks so much for pushing us to the pin of our collar. Thank you. I'd like to thank AIG for their sponsorship of the Dublin GAA, and to our partners who supported us, we all value. To the officers of the County Board and the staff in Parnell Park, thank you for your support for the team and for your tireless work to promote Gaelic games in Dublin. To Jim, the management team, the backroom team, many thanks for your leadership and guidance throughout the year. We wouldn't be here without you, that's for sure. To the players themselves, their determination, self-sacrifice and commitment to the county has led you to this All-Ireland title, so well done, guys. To our families, I'd like to thank you for your unrelenting support, encouragement and loyalty throughout the year. And finally, to our fantastic supporters. You travel the country with us. You're always there, no matter where we are, O'Byrne Cup, League, or indeed the Championship. You're always beside us. So we just are so grateful for your support. Thank you, guys.
So, you know, in other sports, if you win a trophy 3 times, you actually get to keep it. I don't know if he gets to keep the Sam Maguire, but 3 times.
Just before Joe talks, can we just credit him? He's the first captain to captain either an All-Ireland winning football team or an All-Ireland winning hurling team on 4 occasions. What a record.
I think we couldn't pass this occasion by saying that the man beside me played in 2 3-in-a-row teams. So they've got a bit to go yet.
That's the next target.
But I mean, that was the most savage loss today, because, as Pat said, Mayo did everything that could possibly be done. And coming down the straight, whenever Keegan got the goal, you would have said to yourself, look, the atmosphere after Chris Barrett's 2 wonderful interceptions, and then when Cillian O'Connor got the chance to win it with the free out at the left side, I thought to myself, he's going to take it. And yet, in the end, what does it come down to? That we must accept that the Dubs are one of the greatest teams ever to have played the game.
And you're right, Johan, that's the hallmark of a great champions, to dig out a victory like that when they faced adversity. And just on another...
Mayo launched themselves ferociously at that point.
And on another record, 11 Dublin players have now won 5 All-Ireland medals. They're the first players outside of Kerry to ever have 5 All-Ireland medals, which is some achievement. And they are a remarkable team. We're privileged to watch them. Great ambassadors for the sport, great players, great management.
But I mean, standing up to that Mayo challenge today, like, they were absolutely at the pin of their colour, and psychologically, no matter how humble you are, no matter how strong the togetherness ethic is in the group, there comes a point when most teams will crack under that extreme pressure. And the fact that they didn't, and I mean, 3 of their scores in the second half, Michael, one from Diarmuid Connolly, one from Mannion and Dean Roxfist, were 3 of the best points I've ever seen, and that's how good they had to be to come through this.
I suppose at the end of the day, in the finish line in sight, Dublin had the composure. Mayo, with the finish line in sight, yet again panicked a little bit.
Let's go down to Joanne. She's with James McCarthy.
Congratulations. I've never seen so many players at the end of the match absolutely out on their feet. Was it particularly hard out there?
I never played in the game now so tough, to be honest. It was just end to end, and the hitting and the tackling and the running. I'm exhausted, but I'm very happy.
But even if you look at the midfield battle, because in the first half it appeared that Mayo were actually getting on top, but you just came out in the second half. Did you feel like you'd really had one of the halves of your life there?
Yeah, we were under a lot of caution in the first half, and Mayo probably should have been a couple of more scores ahead than they were, and we just hung in there. And we got in at half time, and we just said, we don't want to have no regrets, basically. We came out, we just gave everything we had, and it was the victory.
Obviously, having the experience of being there, done that, does help a lot, but when Mayo were just edging that bit ahead towards the end, did doubts ever cross your mind when you're playing with these players?
No, never. Like, we're so tight as a group. We've been together for so long now, and we really back each other up to the hilt, and we never... If I don't step up one day, someone else will step up, or Keane Sullivan will step up, or someone else, and that was the biggest strength of our team, is the collective, and I'm lost for words.
It's so obvious you're lost for words. Is it just the specialness of this team, the specialness of doing 3 in a row?
We have a really special team, and I can't believe we've done 3 in a row, so I'm so happy.
I see a few celebrations going on at the Hill. I should probably let you be part of it. Say thanks to Dean Rock as well. Well done, James.